Hello, everyone. This is JD Calderon, and this is Indy Comics Explained. And yet again, I brought on another fantastic guest. But please hit like, hit subscribe, share out the video, let everybody know we're here. And without further ado, here's our guest of honor tonight, Mr. Ben Dunn. How you doing, Ben?
Hello, everyone.
All right, cool. So Ben, this goes without saying. You're Ben Dunn. We all know you've done Antarctic Press for a long time, Ninja High School, Warrior Nun Ariella. But please, if you want to give yourself a quick introduction.
Okay. I was born in Taiwan. Immigrated when I was a year old. Was raised in Texas, San Antonio. Recently moved to Garland. I started Antarctic Press in 1985, and then we've been publishing ever since. Started Ninja High School in '87, and it's still going to this day. And created Warrior Nun, as you said, and it's now a series on Netflix.
Yep. All right, cool. There you go. All right, nice. Now, I started self-publishing in '92, right? So we're somewhere around the same wheelhouse, although you've been magnitudes way more successful, which is fine. But when you started in '85, there was the the black and white boom, right? When the Teenage Ninja Turtles came out, right?
Yep.
How did that affect your business when you first started?
Well, I will tell you the advent of the Turtles and their success certainly did catapult into the public eye independent black and white comics, and it certainly showed that it was possible for a small indie company to be successful. And of course, that was also the time when the direct market was coming into its own. We had Capital City, Diamond, and a bunch of other smaller uh, uh, distributors, and that allowed us to sell directly to comic stores, which before then you really couldn't go through. You had to go through a newsstand. That was really the only venue you could sell comics through. But with the rise of comic stores and the direct distribution, it allowed independent companies to come in, and it created a huge black and white boom, as you said. But of course, it all came crashing down in the late '80s. But it's still, the market was still there, and the opportunities were still there. So we were lucky that we survived that.
Now that's another question I wanted to ask because there were a bunch of companies back then. It was Aircell, Eternity, Solson. I mean, there was just scads and scads of them. Yours was one of them. How did you make it
Absolutely. Well, that's a question I often ask myself. To be honest, I
out?
think it was just kind of lucky. We were tenacious in getting our books out, and we had our own titles that we focused on, and we looked for a creative talent that was willing to submit to us, and we tried to fill a niche that wasn't really being served. I knew manga was a new thing at the time, so we tried to fulfill that sort of area that most comic book publishers wouldn't even touch. So we tried to offer a lot of variety. We try to offer a lot of different titles, and we all try to offer different subject matters that most big publishers wouldn't touch.
True, true. Now, I gotta. Here's a question that you may not. Here's a weird one. I don't know if you would even know the answers to this, or who in your company might know. How
I'll
many?
try.
Because you guys have published a lot of titles, a lot of books, right? Do you
Uh-huh.
have any idea how many different titles you've published throughout the years?
Oh my gosh! I mean, we're approaching our 40th anniversary. I would have no ideas. I mean, we literally have done thousands, hundreds of titles.
Yeah.
And it just we have creators who come in and they do their stuff and then they leave, and we have some creators who's been with us for literally decades. So it's just a matter of I mean, I would, to be honest, I would have no idea how many titles we actually published. Yeah, but I remember most of them, so I can tell you what we've done.
No, I mean you guys is like a stellar lineup. I mean, starting with Ninja High School, that started at Eternity, right?
Well, it actually started at Antarctic Press. I did a
Okay.
3-issue miniseries. Um, when the mini series was finished, Eternity Comics contacted me and said they wanted to take over the publication of the book, and I said yes. So they took over the book and they published something like 39 issues, and then it reverted back to Antarctic Press.
Okay, cool, cool. Now, what was the genesis of Ninja High School? Like, how did you like? I don't Project Aiko. I was, all these different. You have all these different things mashed up in there. Like, what brought that about? Ninja High
Well, I was a big fan of anime at the time. I was a big fan of manga. My one of the big shows that had just come out in the late 70s, early 80s was Ursa Yatsura, and of course Project Aiko, and some other teen comedies that I really enjoyed watching. So I decided to go ahead and take those tropes and decided to do my own version of that, and and mix it up with sort of like the classic the love triangle, but just gave it sort of a manga spin to it. And it's and plus it allowed me to just go ahead and include subjects and things that I was very much into at the time. So, it started off sort of like a parody book, but it ended up being its own thing after a while.
Cool. I mean, what would you like? Because, like I said, I've read the book sporadically throughout the years, right? And I know there've been different artists have worked on it. You've worked on it. There've a bunch of different artists. What like what would you consider like a big influence? Obviously, it's anime, manga, and that sort of thing. Would you even consider something like I don't know, like the Chinese movies? I mean, there's so much that went into it. You know what I mean?
Sure, that's the beauty of the series is that you could pretty much approach it from any angle and it would work. That's the beauty of the series is that you can take it in all sorts of different directions, and for some reason it's still part of the Ninja High School universe, so to speak. And I don't know what it is, but basically I just try to do whatever basically whatever suits my fancy at the time. So I just love the characters, I love the situation, and I just keep it on going.
I got you, man. I got you. Now, one of the things I've been seeing you've been getting into online is on your Facebook page is you ask a lot of questions about should you do a furry anthology, right?
Yes.
Or,
right.
or like so I'm just curious about that. What's because I do a book about a magical mouse, and then I have my other book that I do called Tall Tales with my wife, and it's TAILS, right? And it's
right.
It's Dungeons and Dragons meets Robin Hood's Disney's Robin Hood. So it's basically something along those lines, right?
Sure.
So steeped in that. So I've been involved in that. So what's your fascination with it as a storytelling medium?
Oh well, I've always loved the Disney stuff, and my first when I was a little kid, I watched the Disney Robin Hood, which was sort of my introduction to the furries. I didn't know that's what it was called. I just assumed those were just characters that were in animal form, And then I was started reading a book called Albedo by Steve Galacci, and that's what sort of made me say, "Wow, this is not like the Disney kind of quote unquote furry animal type stuff, or at the time it was called funny animal, but then it started to evolve into something called to the furry situation, and I liked it. I just was very liked this art form. I liked the storytelling, I liked it was different, and then I went to conference, back in like in 91 or so, and I met a bunch of creators, and then I met a guy who was a local guy named Sean Howell, who knew a lot of people who were in the furry community, and we sort of started up doing our own anthology, and we called Furlough, and we were also very close to Stan Sakai as well when he was just starting out, So we decided to go do furry books because they weren't doing there weren't a lot out there at the time. So we decided to just go ahead and fill that niche, and we really liked it, and we just expanded it from there. But then back in the late '90s, we had a huge market crash, and we had to let a lot of our editors go, including our furry editors. But we gave them the titles for them to continue. And Ellen Winkler was one of our editors at the time, and she continued the titles that we were publishing under her own Radio Comics banner. But and then I sort of, a lot of years have passed, and we hadn't done any furries for a long time. I know that AP had attempted to do some intermittently every now and then, but they never met with much success. So I thought I'd give it another shot and see if there was a demand for it. But I've been learning very quickly the industry has changed a lot in the last 30 years. So, the fandom has changed a lot as well. So, and I'm right now in sort of the fact finding stages. I'm getting feedback from people, to see which is the best way to approach it.
Gotcha. Now, and that's one of the questions. Well, here's one of the things is because you've gone through several eras of publishing, right?
Yes.
So you were there in the 80s, you were there in the 90s, right?
Right.
2000s, right? Now we're here now, right? Now, curious, which of those eras do you think was your golden time? Or do you think you're in it?
That's a tough question. I don't really see us as I would have to assume that there was an era that we were at our peak, and that we're on the downslope. But that's a tough question, because I always look at it as us continually evolving, and that we still have untapped potential even up to this date. I would probably say the mid '90s was our high point. That's when we, if you count our success monetarily, I would say that was probably our most successful time that we had. I mean, though we're actually doing we're not making the same kind of numbers that we did back in the '80s and '90s for sure. Because the market has certainly contracted. But we're still we're still around, and we're still doing comics. But the whole market has changed so much that we had to adapt.
Okay, fair enough. Now, I mean, I remember one of the things you guys did, and I know this is expensive, is that you guys got into toy manufacturing for a little while, because I remember the Warrior Nuns toys. I mean, how did you guys get into that?
Oh, well, that's an interesting story, because back in the early '90s, there was a guy who came by our office, and he asked us if we were interested in doing action figures, and we had no idea if that was even possible. But apparently, he knew people overseas and who could do it. So we said, okay, well, let's give us the numbers, and we'll give it a shot. So we designed our own toy, and I tell you, we were not toy designers. Okay, we were better comic book artists than we are toy designers. But we tried our hand at it, and lo and behold, he was able to do it, and we offered it through the direct market, and we had a huge response. And that's what started the whole independent toy boom of the mid '90s. But of course, it came crashing down. But we did manage to put out a few nice looking toys at the time.
Now, I haven't checked, right? But I'm curious. Do you have any idea what those toys are going for today?
I have no idea. Once we were done with them, that was it. I mean, we did, like you said, we did Warrior Nun, we did Go Digger, we did even did Usagi Yojimbo from Stan Sakai, and we had plans to doing a lot of other toys too, but when the market crashed, we couldn't, we left the market, but I have no idea what they're going for.
Okay. No, I wrote a number. I worked during the '90s. I worked professionally for a short period, about 2 or 3 years. I wrote a book called La Blue Girl. Okay, I don't know if you remember that.
I
book.
know that. I know that book. That was from was Central Park Media. And my
It was from CPM. Yes,
that's right, CPM, right?
I wrote from issues 3 to 12.
Oh
Right?
man, that was you, huh?
Yeah, that was me.
That's terrific.
Yeah, I also wrote Tenchi Muyo, the 6 issue limited series for P-Anime.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I mean, it was great. But the La Blue Girl books, surprisingly enough, they run anywhere from 35 to $60. Doesn't matter which issue.
Nice.
Yeah, I was just like, what? I was like,
Well,
those
that's just to show you that people are rediscovering those old anime and manga adaptations from the 90s. I mean, those were they're not very common nowadays, and people still remember those shows.
Yeah, very much. I was really, really surprised that that stuff was going on. So here's something for you. Here's a bit of a blast from the past. I know you worked with Doug Rice on Dynamo Joe, and the only reason I'm asking is because I'm a huge Dynamo Joe fan.
Oh, great.
How did you get into that gig with him?
That's a good question. Yeah. I think what it was, because I was working with, I was doing my own thing, of course, and I was working for Eternity, and I guess I just got a reputation of being sort of the manga artist at the time, And since I think Doug was aware of my work, and he couldn't meet some deadlines because and they asked me to do some fill-in issues. And I mean, they contacted me, gave me a call and asked if I could do some fill-in issues, and I said yes, of course, and I went ahead and did them. I did a couple of issues for Doug, and they were great. I had a lot of fun with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because I know I heard there was some talk of bringing it back. And
yes, I was talking with Doug Rice about bringing it back, but apparently there is some rights issues, and we wanted to get him to bring it back, but apparently he had some contractual issues as far as the character was concerned. But we're hoping that we can convince him to eventually bring the character back. So we're trying.
No, it'd be awesome. I mean, I would love to at least see a nice hardcover omnibus reprint.
Oh, I agree. I think if it was like recolored, it would be certainly. I think would find a new audience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so as well. Yeah, that'd be awesome. Now, another book I wanted to talk about, which unfortunately I've never read. I've seen it, right, and I've been looking. I every now and again I look for it. Mighty Tinies, right?
Yes.
Because like I said, I do a mouse book, so it's one of those things where it's just like, oh, you just want to see all the different types that's going on. So what was the genesis and creation of that? Why mice? Why did you go that route?
Well, I was inspired by Don Bluth's Secret of Nim. I thought that was a great movie. When I watched it at the theater, and I was really inspired by it. Now, I liked furries, and decided to do my own version of it. And I was also inspired. At first, I did a Mighty Tiny as sort of like a Robotech type spinoff, where the original Mighty Tiny was, I made the mice, to scale to like actual mice, and they lived in the world that looked like it was occupied by humans at some point in the past, but you don't see any humans. You just see the remnants of what was left. And they just created their own technology. And I did sort of a mouse version of Macross for the first Mighty Tiny thing.
Nice.
And then I watched Miyazaki's Castle in the Sky, Laputa. And I love that movie. So I decided to take inspiration from that and mix it into the Mighty Tiny universe, and made my own sort of steampunk version of mice with mice. So that's where I got that. Yeah, and those were the inspirations for it.
Right, cool. Any plans of a reprint, maybe?
Oh well, you can get it available on. You can read it for free on Webtoons. So if you check out Webtoons, you can read it for free. And I'd be happy to send you a PDF if you want it.
I'll be honest with you, I'm old. I actually like my books. I don't mind paying. Like I like
no problem.
books.
I'll send you the address, and
Yeah.
I'll send you a copy. I'll send you a copy of the collection.
Oh, okay, cool. I'll send you. Listen, PayPal. Like I said, I don't have a problem paying for
Nah,
things.
professional courtesy. You just send me a DM the address, and I'll send you a copy.
All right, cool. All right. I appreciate. I'll
Yeah,
send you
no
some.
problem.
I'll send you some books in exchange. I'll send you some Oswald, some Tall Tales.
All right, we'll trade.
Yes, we'll trade. There you go. Nice. Nita is a friend of the show, and no, that's all I'm gonna say. I love Nita. She's awesome. Um, so 35 years in Ninja High School. Now, of all of those issues that you've that's been produced in Ninja High School, how many of those were like you? You know what I mean?
I was probably say about 2/3
Two
of the
thirds.
series is me. Yeah, about 2/3 of it. I would say I haven't done an actual head count, but I'd
Mhm.
probably guess it's about 2/3.
Gotcha.
Sometimes I just didn't have the time to do it, and I just wanted to keep the series going. So,
Mhm.
especially when I was doing my Warrior Nun phase, when I was doing nothing but Warrior Nun, I had people continue doing Ninja High School during that time period.
Nice. Now, the whole Warrior Nun phase that you went through, right? I know that was during the '90s, as a whole bad girl era, right?
Yep.
Why did you jump into that one? Like, or was it just just something that got excited about? Like, why Warrior Nun, Ariel?
Well, the Bad Girls craze had just started, with Lady Death,
Mhm.
and that was and then we decided, you know what, let's do our own version of
Mhm.
the Bad Girl thing. It was purely just because we saw the the potential of a lot of monetary gain, because that's what everyone was doing at the time. But we decided just to do our spin on it, and we had no idea how successful it was going to be. But I mean, it exceeded all our expectations, and we were quite successful with it for quite some time. We crossed over with a bunch of other characters, and including Rob Liefield's Extreme Studios and London Knight and a bunch of other characters as well. So we were having a lot of fun with it.
Mhm. No, that's really cool. Now, um, I know they. All right, I'm gonna ask you a bunch of not so weird, but like the whole thing of Warrior Nun. You ended up selling the rights to it at some point.
Yes, I did. The thing was, I mean, contrary to what a lot of people think, the comic book artists are not wealthy individuals. And at the time, my wife had undergone some major surgery, and we had huge hospital bills. So I had to make a decision, and decided that this was the best way to take care of that, and it did. So I'm grateful for that. But unfortunately, I had to sell the rights to Warrior Nun to Avatar Comics, and right now they're the holders of the rights.
Gotcha. Now, they did the TV show, and I know I think you're credited, right?
Yes, yes.
Which is cool. Do you see any residuals out of that at all?
No, I don't see any residuals, but that's okay. I'm cool with that. I do get some. I do get some perks. Like whenever they start a new season, they fly me out to Spain to witness the shooting of the first episode, and then they fly me back out for the shooting of the last episode. So I get at least that, and like you said, I get the my name in the credits,
Yeah.
and that to me is awesome.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. Now, do they also own the publishing rights to the original comics as well?
Yes, they do.
Because it would be nice to have I've never seen them reprinted. That's why.
Well, I mean, it's up to them to decide if they want to go ahead and reprint them. There must be a decision, why they haven't. But who's to say?
Right,
I'm not.
right.
Yeah, I'm not privy to their mind.
Mm-hmm. No, I got you. Um, what is it? Now, here's a weird question. I used to print with Brenner, right?
Uh huh.
You
So
remember
did
Brenner?
we. Uh-huh.
Um, What is it? So I was just wondering because they've gotten out of the business, and I'm just wondering, do you know why they got out of the business? Because they were great.
I have no idea. Maybe the comic industry has shrunk to the point
Uh,
where it wasn't profitable anymore, or who knows? I am not. They're located in San Antonio. I'm
mhm,
sure my brother would know more about that than I would, since he's right there, and they still do some business with them. So
mhm.
I'm not sure what the situation is with them.
Gotcha. All right, cool. Did you ever? Well, I would imagine you met the cast, the Warrior Men.
Yes, I did meet the cast. I met the director and the cast, and I also met the Netflix overseers there as well.
That's nice. Are they like scary guys in suits?
Yep, that's exactly what they are. They make sure that everything runs on schedule and on budget.
Nice. Wow. The clipboards and the whole thing is just like
Oh yes, very
wow.
strictly business.
Strictly business. Wow. Well, I mean, somebody has to take care of that, right?
Absolutely, yep. Got to run a tight ship.
Yeah. Uh, what is this? Am I right? Attributes are going from 5 to 40. Okay, there you go. Cool. Yeah, it's always interesting, there is a season 2, right?
Yeah, season 2 will be out this winter. I'm not sure exactly when.
Mm,
Rumor has it it'll be out in December, but from what I understand, Netflix is they keep release dates very close to the vest.
mm,
So until they actually make an announcement, then it's anybody's guess.
yeah. Cool. Yeah, I mean, they released Sandman, and I who knew? Like it, for me, it felt like it just fell out of the sky. I was just like, oh, you know, like,
Well, they've been working on that for a while.
yeah, they've been working, but they never. I don't ever remember them saying, "Oh, you were going to release it in August." So I was just like, it just like fell out. I was like, oh, okay, we got Sandman.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, that's great.
mm. Now, the 35th anniversary of Ninja High School. What are you doing now? I know you're working on it, but I mean, what are you most looking forward with that?
Well, right now, my biggest focus is to get the book on a regular schedule. With all the stuff that I'm doing now, it's difficult for me to maintain a monthly schedule because of all my other duties. Because if I was able to focus on the book, just the book, I could probably get it out on a monthly basis. Because I can draw pretty quickly, and I can get a book out pretty fast. But with everything else that's going on, I have to balance everything else that I'm doing with doing. But I'm doing Ninja High School on a regular basis. Hopefully, I want to try to get to a monthly, basis eventually, and try to get to issue 200 within the next year or so.
Nice. Now, when you say like, because I know you just all right. Well, how quickly? Like, how many pages do you think you're doing in a month? Like,
Uh, I depending on I try to do at least one page every day.
mhm,
If I can do at least one page every day, I try to discipline myself so that I can do that. And as long as I can do that, I can probably easily do 24 to 30 pages a month if I really put my mind to it. But it's all a matter of trying to balance all my Kickstarter campaigns, my editorial duties, and drawing a project with other people and things like that takes up most of my time because I'm one that just likes to keep busy. I don't like to uh, uh,
mhm.
I don't like to just sit and do nothing.
Now, all right. Well, someone's asking, what's your secret to drawing faster? I'm inspired comic book artist. All right, there you go.
Well, to me, the style I employ is way simpler. I don't do a lot of complex drawings. I try to draw just enough to tell the story and then move on. The most important thing is just discipline. You got to just tell yourself, this is what I'm going to do. And some artists take longer because they want to spend more time on detail and things like that, and that's perfectly fine. The key to success is just to keep drawing. No matter how much it takes or how long it takes, you just keep at it. And when you get a page done, you move on to the next one, and so on and so on and so on. You got to maintain that momentum, and you just got to, and you have to enjoy it. Don't look at it as a chore. Look at it as something that you really want to do, and just do it. I mean, that's really what it comes down to.
Larry saying tomorrow go with Niobe incoming. Now is that happening, or is that just
Oh, hell yeah, it's happening. Larry's working on the story. I mean,
nice.
his big thing is that Niobe is not as powerful as tomorrow. He said, no, well, neither is Batman. He teams up with Superman all the time. He's got to come up with a story that makes sense and that's entertaining. And I always feel like there's a story for there's a good story if you just handle it in the just take your time and think about it.
Mm-hmm. True. This is very true. I mean, I've taken as long as 6 years to like formulate one story. So,
well, if it takes 6 years, it takes 6 years, man. I mean, if it takes 1 day, it takes 1 day. Everything, has its own pace, and as long as you're satisfied with it, that's really what it comes down to. If you're happy with it, then that's all that really matters.
Mm-hmm. No, definitely. Now you recently did some work with the Common America guys, right?
Yes, I did.
Now, how did that come about? Like, what was like, because I can imagine that because those guys are exploding, and how did you get together with those guys?
Well, I know him. He did some stuff for Antarctic Press,
Mm-hmm.
and he's actually, before he did Common America, he did a lot of other stuff too, like Trump Space Force, Black Ops, and stuff like that. And we published his work, and he was grateful for that. And when he introduced Common America, we took his offer to publish his comic through Diamond and get into comic stores. So I already knew him, so I just simply asked him. I said, can I do this with you? And he said, yeah. So that's all. Sometimes it's all it takes.
That's it. Okay, cool, nice. I like it. Now,
you don't ask, you'll never know.
That's how I got this interview.
Absolutely, man. I always say the worst they can say is no.
Exactly. And I was like, well, if he says okay, then I was like, that it was the same as I was now.
Absolutely. And if you don't, I mean, the thing is, if you don't ask, you'll never know.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you should never be afraid to talk to people. I mean, not everyone is going to be receptive, but then you'll know at least what that person is like because you talk to them.
Mm-hmm. Glenn says, sometimes I find myself working on 2 pages at a time, side by side, as I do the thumbnails, pacing, then work on the 2 pages at the same time. It gives you a greater span of your storytelling. I mean, have you ever tried something like that, Ben?
Oh, no, I always take 1 page at a time. I don't have that kind of discipline to do more than that. If I don't finish 1 page, I can't do the next. I always have to do it in order. Right. But that's just the way I do it. For other people, it may be different, and that's fine. Whatever works for you is whatever you should do.
Yeah. I worked with one guy, and I would give him a script, and this is the guy. This guy worked Matt Lunsford. He was the guy that did La Blue Girl and Tenchi Muyo with, and I would give him the script.
I know Matt. Yeah, I know Matt. He did some Ninja High School issues.
Mm-hmm. Yep, he did a long time ago. I'm trying to get him back in. I'm trying.
Well, I wish you luck because he's a very talented artist.
Oh yeah. I mean, listen. He went to school. He went to high school with my wife. That's how I met him.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So we all came up together, but he's been working a day job. He's been messing around here and there. But I'm like, dude, you got to get back in. Even if it's just 1 page a week.
Well, comics are great, okay, because that's the one art form that anybody can do. You're not limited by budget. You're not limited by imagination. You're not limited by anything. Comics are great, and comics are becoming the new area that other media are strip mining for ideas. I mean, we're hearing all the time, this comic got optioned, this comic got is being developed. You never know. You just never know, and not just the big too, like Marvel and DC, they're actually paying attention to independent creators now. I mean, hell, look at me. I mean, who would have ever thought that Warrior Nun would ever become on Netflix? I mean, I never did, and here it is.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, somebody got a question here. A serious question for Ben. He's mentioned doing a new furry book. Has he considered the period Azrael was posing as Pirate Queen Lisa?
Well, yeah, I had never thought of that, but I tell you what, if someone come up with a good storyline, drop me a line. I'm always open to new creators coming up with new ideas, especially when it takes place in the Ninja School. I have the sometimes I have the assortment of creators play in my sandbox and play with my toys. Yeah.
Are you still there? I'm sorry.
Yes, I'm here. I'm still here. Yeah, I mean that's one of the things I always encourage. I always encourage up and coming creators to take their shot, and to do something to get published. That's why I did the yearbooks and the Girls of and the Ninja High School swimsuits. This gave people the opportunity to try their hand at doing a short story in a universe that's already been established. Yeah. And a lot of artists got their start that way.
True. Daphne and I actually had a short in the Gold Digger annual #1.
Oh, great! See,
yeah,
that's awesome.
That was a while ago.
But that's right. But you did it. That's the important thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, a couple. I asked you about Brenner real quick because like there was a couple of like weird business questions. Because I know you guys had an issue. I remember there was a period, and I just want to get some clarification, where you guys were being released in Walmart.
Yes, we did a book that was in Walmart called Diary of a Zombie Kid. And I don't know if any other AP books that were released in Walmart, but as far as I know, I would presume that maybe they were at some time or another.
Okay.
I know. Yeah, I know that Eternity Comics released Ninja High School on the newsstands for a little while.
Gotcha. Okay. No, because I know there might have been like the story that I heard. I don't know if it's true. Is that Anthart Press got into some serious financial straits because Walmart was sending back returns.
Yes, that was true. We were this is when we were doing that Diary of a Zombie Kid, which was very similar, or at least they consider it similar to Diary of a Wimpy Kid. So because of that, we ended up with a lot of returns, and that was almost that was a very devastating to us financially, but we were able to work things out and we were able to survive. So it's not the first time we've been in this situation, and it won't be the last, I'm sure.
Right. No. I mean, listen. You guys. Because so from back in that black and white boom period, right? Like I said, there was LSL, Solson. There's a ton of different publishers. You're one of the few that made it out, right? Also around you guys, around that same period, you had Kamiko, First Comics, Eclipse, all of them incredible companies that unfortunately didn't make it. You know what I mean? I think you and Dark Horse. That's it. From that era.
Well, I think Fantagraphics is still around.
Yeah, that's true. The alternative.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, very few survived. That's for sure. You're right. It was a high attrition rate.
Exactly. I mean, and you guys have been doing it and just killing it, But here's a question for you: do you think webcomics are going to become the future, such as webtoons?
Well, I think it is already part of the future. It's definitely there. Until the technology changes again. It's a delivery system. I mean, that's really all it is. It's a way for people to read comics, on their phone or on their computer very conveniently. And the problem is how do you monetize it? Now it's becoming you can monetize it if you get enough views, or get enough subscribers. So back then it was difficult, but now it's starting to change. People are starting to be able to actually make money off doing comics in places like Webtoons and places like that, Comixology. So that's great. It's a great opportunity, especially for up and coming creators, to try their hand at doing something different, and new, and hopefully hit off with readers.
Definitely. Now, here's a question for you. Now, you were back in, the old days, like myself, when we had 13, 14 distributors, right? And
Uh-huh.
now we just got Diamond, right?
Right.
And now we also have Kickstarter or Indiegogo or any of these campaign platforms. What's the big difference? Like, do you feel if we had the same option back then, right? Like, which do you prefer? Would you still prefer having the multiple distributor system,
Well,
or
I am for any system that will expand the reach of comics.
Mhm.
There's no reason why you can't use every single resource available. I mean, if you can use Kickstarter or Indiegogo or go through Diamond, you should use all venues if at all possible. And there's no reason why you wouldn't. You're leaving money on the table if you're not using every single venue that's available. There's no reason why you can't do an Indiegogo and Kickstarter campaign at the same time. There's no law against it. It's absolutely free. And you could put there could be you're leaving money on the table as far as I'm concerned if you don't do both. And if you and the thing about Diamond is a direct market distributor only to comic stores. So I mean, who knows? Maybe Diamond may start doing crowdfunding too. I don't know. There's all that possibility is available. I mean, as far as Diamond is concerned, really the only thing about Diamond is that if you want to get your comic into comic stores, that's probably the best way to do it. I mean, you can sell directly to comic stores, but my understanding that comic book store retailers really don't want to have to deal with, like 50 separate publishers,
yeah,
and getting their books. They'd rather just do it conveniently through one,
Mhm.
one central hub, and that's the advantage of Diamond. And publishers such as Antarctic Press, we get your stuff into comic stores, and while that may not have as big a reach as doing your stuff online, but it does have a reach nonetheless, and it does. You get foot traffic, and you get people to see your book on the shelf. So you never know who's going to walk by and decide discover your book on the shelf, and it does have you have sort of a visceral feeling about that when you actually see your book on a shelf, as opposed to you're sending a book directly to a backer.
True, true. Now, here's a question. Well, here's something. Well, a question. Like, what if we got a number of people here. Some of the self publishers, so on and so forth. If someone wanted to get published at Antarctic, what would they have to do? What would be the most, I guess, the best way for them to do?
Well, the best way is we have several ways you can do it. The best way, I think, if it's a creator-owned product, is to do a Kickstarter. Okay, if you do a Kickstarter, I mean, you do a crowdfunder. If you do a crowdfunder, you can, the market will support it. The market likes your product, support it, and you'll get money up front to pay for the work that you're going to be needing to get it done. Once it's paid for, then you come to us because here's a good analogy. I look at crowdfunding as a first run movie theater. Okay, you get your stuff out there, and people buy it. They pay directly to go see a movie, just like with a crowdfunder, you support the creator directly. Okay, and once the product is done and you ship it, and it's been paid for, because look at Antarctic Press as sort of like a streaming service.
Mhm.
Okay, pick up your stuff after it's run its course in the crowdfunding market. The book is already done. We offer it through Diamond. We get the orders, and then you get paid. Okay, so it's like you're getting it's more or less like gravy. You're getting an extra income from, or you're getting an extra revenue source for work you've already done,
Right.
basically.
True.
And now the second way to do it is we have several anthologies that we do, and you can submit directly to those anthologies. Okay, if you were to do a short story, or you have you have a story that may not quite be ready for its own book, but would fit quite nicely in an anthology title. So that's another way you can do it as well. And of course, you can always send stuff directly to us if you want to just take a chance on getting your work. Take a chance on getting your work just printed straight from what you've done. Now, of course, that's more risky because, quite frankly, um, uh, publishing comics through small publisher like ours, unless it sells really well, you're probably not going to get a large monetary return. But I mean, you never know. Some books do very, very, very well. A good example is like Rags or Patriotica. They do very, very well. But those are also examples of books that they've done way ahead of time, and we're just basically reprinting them.
Right. No, I got you. To go back to your other point, I am a huge Wendy and Richard Pini fan.
Yes, ElfQuest.
And their business model is print it, reprint it, print it again, reformat it, print it, and then print it one more time, and then one more time again.
Absolutely. It's a great model. As long as there's demand for it, you should just keep it in print forever.
Exactly.
There's no reason why there's no reason why you can't do that. And, as long as there's you feel like that's the thing about, once you get your work done, you can use it forever. And that's the good thing about it, is that you can reprint it again and again and again and again.
Exactly. That's one thing I try to explain to a lot of younger artists. It's like, look, you did it, now you can just reprint it and do it again. Because if you've touched 1,200 people, 1,500 people, there's still another 7 billion that haven't seen it.
That's right. That's exactly what I told Larry. He said, I don't look at it as the people I've sold to. I look at all the potential, potential. I have 7 billion people on this planet, and for a fact, not every single one of them has read your book.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. All right. Cool. Now, we've been at this for a minute, Ben, and I'm really grateful for you being here. And we're almost done, and I got some goofy questions to ask you before we finish.
Oh, I love goofy questions. Ask away.
Before we get to that, I do want to ask you this question. I have been asking in a lot of my other recent interviews, but it's one I used to ask all the time. Is there anything I didn't ask you that you wanted to talk about, or you wanted to let everybody know about?
Well, I will tell you, I'm always looking for new creative talent. I'm always looking for stuff to put in our various anthologies. Right now, I'm on a big. I'm considering expanding the Ninja High School universe. Trying to see if I'm taking pitches for possible spin-off books. I mean, we did that in the 80s and 90s for quite some time. That's how we got Zetraman and Hitomi and the Girl Commandos and other things like that. And so I'm trying to do the same thing. I know Ninja High School has been out of circulation for a while. But I'm on a very aggressive kick to bring it back, and try to, win a new audience.
Okay, cool. Real quick, let everybody know where they can find you and your work before I get to these questions.
Well, you can find, you could read the books on Webtoons if you want to, for free. You can go to the Antarctic Press Shopify site if you want to get back issues. And of course, I always encourage to support your local comic book store. because they need your business, and and that's one of the best places you can go to get new comics.
All right, cool. Nice. All right, so let's get on to some of this tomfoolery. Um, so Ben, I asked everybody these two questions. I asked everyone. So, if you had your druthers, and you don't have to worry about expense or anything, and you could pick an artist, living or dead, and you didn't have to worry about budget, who's the artist you'd want to work with?
Oh well, gosh, that's a yeah. I would love to work with Rumiko Takahashi if I ever. It's really I love her style. It's just fun, And my dream is to do a Ninja High School Urusei Yatsura crossover. If I ever get a chance to do that, I would love to do that.
All right, cool, nice. Now, Ben, we didn't get into it. It's unfortunate, but you did. All right, if you got the call up from the big companies, right? Whatever you could think of, right? You got the golden ticket, and they said, Ben, come on up. We want you to do any IP you want. Which is the IP you'd want to work on outside of your own, obviously?
I did get that chance. I did the Marvel Manga Verse. And with the Marvel Manga Verse, I did almost every single major Marvel character. So that was, and the only thing I've ever done for DC was a short story for the Bizarro World hardback. I did sort of a Power Rangers version of Green Lantern. So that was my only experience with DC Comics. But I got my dream. I did Marvel Mangaverse. I literally was able to play with every single major Marvel character. I did everything I wanted to do. So but if I were to if they were to come up to me and ask me what IP I would do Superman. I would love to do Superman.
Okay. Cool. Now the thing I'll ask, we'll go into this and then we'll move on to these goofy questions. The Mangaverse. How did you get into how did that come about? I know C.V. Cebulski was involved. How did he pull you in and get all that stuff together?
Well, that's a funny story. Back in the 1999, Joe Quesada was the editor in chief, and manga was just starting to become more popular. And I took a chance. I did a proposal. I did several concepts, manga versions of Marvel characters, is what I was pitching it as. And I did the concept art, and I went ahead and FedExed it. It's a code submission. Okay, it was just I had no reason to believe they would even look at it. Okay, but when they got it, I got an email from them and said they wanted to do it, and I was shocked, and they made it a 5th-week event, and I went ahead and did it, and that's how it came about. Believe it or not, all I did was took a chance, and they accepted it.
Nice. All right, that's cool. All right, nice. Okay.
Yeah, that's nothing easier than that, right?
True. All right, so let's see. Good question. Yeah. I don't know who's the her. But all right, so Ben, like I said, I have these questions I like to ask everyone. They're comparatives, right? We'll I'll softball you and then we'll work our way in.
Okay, right? Sure.
Captain America, and some of these will come with Y's. So Captain America or Batman?
Batman, of course.
Okay. Godzilla or Gamera?
Oh, I Godzilla is the big G, but I have a soft spot for Gamera.
Nice. Spock or Data?
Oh, Spock for sure.
Cool. Bone or Cerebus?
Cerebus.
Fair enough. Here's one for you. Comic year, 1986 or 1991?
Oh, 91.
Okay, why?
Oh, that was just when comics just exploded. I mean, that was the Image was just coming out. The independent comic market was blowing up. It was just recovering from the '80s crash. I mean, it was the year of it was extreme. Everything was extreme.
Yes.
So you got to love it. That's what made comics. I mean, that redefined the whole genre of comics now.
Mm. Okay, here's this. He was her being the artist he wanted to bring back to work with. Oh, Rumiko Takahashi, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the artist. Wait, I think because you might have blanked out a little bit on the audio.
Right.
Uh, Extreme, cool. Um, oh, Harry Potter or Narnia,
Oh, Harry Potter for sure.
cool. Um, oh, you're one of the all right. Space Ghost or Thunder the Barbarian.
Oh, that's a toughie. Uh, oh my gosh, I do like both, but I would have to go with Space Ghost. Just has just a better setup, and that theme song is just awesome.
Okay, cool. I think you're one of the few guests I can ask that question to
Oh, of course.
because listen, that was my childhood too.
Yeah, I've always been a nerd at heart.
Mhm. Um, Paul Levitz or Jim Shooter.
Oh, Jim Shooter.
Okay, cool. Um, Wally Wood or Al Williamson.
Oh, oh gosh, that's also a toughie. I would have to say Wally Wood, only because his style is just so unique. I mean, Wally Williamson was a great artist. Don't get me wrong,
Mhm.
but his stuff seemed a little too stiff. I mean, Wally Wood. I mean, oh my gosh, he could do everything. He was an amazing artist.
All right. Perfect Oblivion asks Marvel or DC.
Marvel. I'm a Marvel guy. Sorry, I like DC, but I grew up with Marvel because Marvel was just cooler.
Yeah, I agree. It wasn't until the Teen Titans when I was George Perez, Marv Wolfman, Teen Titans. That's when I.
Well, believe it or not, my favorite DC series at the time was Legion of Superheroes. I loved Legion of Superheroes,
Mhm.
especially the early '60s run was just. I mean, they were so goofy and over the top. I loved it. It was great.
Yeah, I didn't get into that until there was I think Paul Levitz wrote it. Where it was where they had one of the races they transformed their planet into the head of Darkseid.
Oh, you're talking about the '80s and '90s. I'm talking about the '60s. And Jim
Yeah,
Shooter actually wrote a few issues of those.
yeah,
You know, I like the '60s ones because they were just so goofy and over the top.
yeah. I never read any of those. So
Oh, you guys, they're fun. They're fun to
I'm gonna have to look into those. Akira or Nausicaa?
a Nausicaa.
Cool. Lord of the Rings or Star Wars?
Uh, that's a toughie. I would have to say old Star Wars
Yeah,
that's really the only thing I like is vintage Star Wars.
right. Got you. Secret Wars or Crisis on Infinite Earth?
Uh, Crisis. It's just had better artwork, better story.
True. George Perez.
Yeah, it was also more serious. The
Mhm.
Secret Wars, I think, was just done to sell toys.
Okay, I think was that the Great Darkness? Like I think it was. It's been a long time. That's that was a Legion thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, hmm. Okay. Frazetta or Boris?
Frazetta for sure. I mean, Boris is okay, but Frazetta, man, he's the man.
Mhm. All right, here's one for you: Frank Miller or Alan Moore?
Oh, Frank Miller.
Okay, why?
Well, Frank Miller, I think he writes characters that are believable, and you can identify with them. I think Alan Moore is while he's a fine writer, okay, I think uh, his characters are a little too, you know, uh, too dark, too dystopian. They're not fun. I
Right.
mean, and Frank Miller could at least write characters that were, I think more believable, and I could identify with them more. And they seems to write characters I could hang out with. All the Alan Moore characters seem kind of scary. It's like, oh, he's gonna blow my head off if I say the wrong thing.
Right.
But I like Frank Miller because I think Frank Miller is this. I just like his characterizations better.
Mhm. All right, cool. Buffy or Supernatural?
Buffy, because I just like cheerleaders.
Good answer. I never thought of it that way, but yes, I understand. Um, Doctor Strange or John Constantine?
Doctor Strange.
Cool, cool, cool.
I just like the name, and he's just way cooler.
Okay, fair enough. All right, we've done a few of these, so I'll ask you a couple more, and then we'll wrap it up.
Sure.
All right,
Ask
cool.
away.
H.P. Lovecraft or Poe?
H.P. Lovecraft.
Mm-hmm.
He just has a more interesting universe, and he was certifiably crazy. I think Poe was I don't know if he was crazy or not, but he wasn't that kind of crazy.
Right. True. Bernie Wrightson or Barry Windsor Smith?
Oh, that's not fair. Those are totally two different styles. How can you compare those two? I mean, God. I guess I would have to say Bernie Wrightson has a slight edge over Barry Smith. I like both of them immensely. I think Bernie Wrightson's style is just unique. It's just the way he draws the way he draws utilizes the black ink and and everything like that. It's just it's incomparable. But I do like Barry Smith too. I do like Barry Smith. I love his line work.
Yeah. Here's the thing with these questions. There's no right or wrong answer.
Thank God.
There is no right or wrong answer. There is just, because it's like comparing, like I tell somebody, it's like comparing an A+ to an A++.
That's true.
Like, how do you make that distinction? It's like a hairline there, it's literally a preference.
Well, the thing is that I love a lot of artists. The thing is I just love comic book art in general.
Right.
So he's somebody who can draw really well. I'm just like, God dang, I wish I could draw that well. So yeah, I never really considered myself that great an artist, but I think I get by just enough.
Nah, man. Listen, you've been doing it for like a good deal of time. You're incredible. So
I think I'm persistent.
I mean, listen, that pays off.
Well, that's true. It does. I mean, just the sheer body of work can sometimes have an advantage.
Exactly. Yeah, it's funny. Like, I mean, I didn't get to ask you about it too much, and I'll bring it up real quick. Is like, Fred Perry, right?
Yes.
Gold Digger.
Mm-hmm.
Crawling on 300 issues soon, man.
Yep.
I mean,
that.
Yeah, I mean, that dude, he's like the hardest working man that so few people know about.
Yeah, he's one of the few creators who's done everything. He's done the writing, the drawing, the coloring, and everything. He doesn't let anybody do his series, which is very unusual. Unlike me, which I've allowed people do. But he's in a different league, altogether. Mm-hmm. I mean, so you have to admire the fact that he has done all of that himself. From the very beginning is something that is just, to me, amazing.
Yeah, and he's done what, 2 cartoons?
Yeah, he does his own animation too, and he designs video games. So he's like a regular Renaissance man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean that dude. I mean, he's a beast. I mean,
he is. I'm so jealous.
We all are.
Yeah, exactly.
We all are. I mean, that guy's incredible.
All he needs now is a TV show, and his life is complete.
Yeah, that's it. All right, we'll wrap it up with this one. Is this a good one to wrap it up? Yeah, we can wrap it up on this one. And we'll go with why. Don Bluth or Chuck Jones?
Oh God. I would have to say Chuck Jones, only because his the work he's done with the resources he's had. I mean, it's just amazing. While Don Bluth, I love his work. I just don't think he's as good a storyteller as Chuck Jones is. And that's why I would have to say Chuck Jones has a slight edge.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Ben, thank you so much. This was awesome, man. I mean, I really appreciate you being here. This was great.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Anytime.
So one more time, please. Let everybody know where they can find you and your work, sir.
Well, you can find more. I have a website, bendunncomics.com, which you can find me there. You can also find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and all those various social media sites. I can't keep up with all of them, so I should pick out the ones that are most popular. And then I'm mostly on Facebook, but like I say, you can find me almost anywhere. And that's yeah. Or you can also just write to me by good old fashioned letter.
There you go. Nice. All right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Ben. This was awesome. Like I said, we got to do this again sometime. And have a good night, guys. And I'll see you guys Sunday. Oh, here you go. Here's one from Larry. Bye, Antarctica. There you
go. Thank you, Larry. I appreciate it.
Have a good night, guys. All right. Bye.
Bye.